ladies and gentlemen, Genevieve Wood.
The stars at night are big and bright.
Yeah.
Deep in the heart
Genevieve,
of Texas.
last night, and you can chime in on this Newt Gingrich thing, but I wanted to roll into the reason why I'm here in Columbia, Missouri. Last night, I was at a fundraiser for Roy Blunt, the U.S. Senator fighting right now to retain his seat in the U.S. Senate, and Carly Fiorina was here on behalf of him. And I love Carly Fiorina. I think she's great. I wish she would. Do think she's a fabulous person and a real great did a great job at HP. And I loved her. I supported her when she was running in the early stages, and so she's great. But you know what? That's the dynamic we have. We have Roy Blunt, who has been, hey, I'm full on the Trump train, and Carly Fiorina coming, who really isn't, but still fighting to keep him in the Senate.
Which is, I mean, she should be doing. I mean, Republicans absolutely need to keep the Senate, especially if Donald Trump doesn't win the presidency. All the more reason we'd like to see probably the Republicans keep the Senate. On the other hand, Jamie, I have to say, the reason a lot of these folks are up against it, I'm not saying specifically Roy Blunt, but it's because people kind of feel as though Washington's just been the same old, same old. Nobody's made a change. And that's why a lot of these senators are in trouble. It's not Donald Trump's fault. It's not other people's fault. I think it's a larger Senate body's fault. I'd put a lot of blame at the feet of Mitch McConnell that he's having trouble in a lot of these Senate races because, look, people are fed up. And I'm with you. I love Carly Fiorina. I wish that the full party was more united because I think if they were, we wouldn't be having questions about who the next president was going to be, and we wouldn't be having questions about were Republicans going to hold on to the Senate, and we wouldn't be having questions about is Paul Ryan going to still be Speaker. All that stuff is going on because there's disarray. Frankly, it's amazing in my view that Trump is doing as well as he is, considering so many Republicans have either been negative or have been not supportive.
Yeah, I agree. Carly Fiorina, had she stepped up, would make a huge difference, especially among women voters, I believe.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, just as you said, and you look at the media, you're talking about, only one allegation has to come out and the media jumps all over it like it's a true story, except when there's 33,000 emails missing. Okay, that on the other hand, can't possibly be a problem. That's no issue here. I mean, even with all this stuff leaking out right now, I was just watching MSNBC this morning. I try to kind of see what the alternative view of the world is. I mean, that's like 30 seconds of what they talk about. The rest of it is everything else. I mean, it's amazing how little attention they've given to that story. Even right now, when we can see these other leaks that are coming. President Obama, for example, probably knew a lot more about what Hillary's email server situation was than he told the American public back when he was asked about it in 2015. But again, is that story getting front page news? No.
Well, unfortunately, the top story I just heard nationally is that Donald Trump responded to Joe Biden. So, I mean, that's the main story, that Donald Trump wants to fight Joe. It's like, come on, people. I mean, it's at some point we got to get real here. But you're right about that, and you're right about that news coverage. And what's interesting to me is I hope Carly isn't calculating, as in, well, maybe if we can kill off Trump, we could come back in 2020, because it's going to, and the midterms are going to be awful for the people who didn't support Trump. One, if he wins or loses, I'm afraid, because I've talked to people on this radio show, and it's not going to be good for people. And I can't figure out how people who are going to run for re-election or election in 2016 or 2020 to stop Hillary if she's elected, if they didn't do anything to stop Hillary. I can't figure out how they're going to make that case to the American people.
Well, no, because how are you going to motivate your base? How are you going to, I mean, I think this is the biggest issue. I think many people are going to say, look, this was our chance. We really thought this was going to be a year of change. But it didn't happen. I mean, can you imagine if Hillary Clinton wins and the Senate and the House is kind of the same old, people are going to be so frustrated. I think particularly on the conservative side that nothing changed. That not only did it not change, but the leadership didn't even act like they got the message. And I think if that happens, I don't care how great the next candidate is running. A lot of people are going to say to heck with it. I don't think that's what we should do. I think as citizens we got to be involved. But I would understand if people said, you know what, done with you, Kat. Because, you not only did you not, win, you didn't even, take the lesson away from this whole process.
Well, all we need to do is look to what's happening with Pat Toomey up in Pennsylvania. Now, again, I don't know exactly the reasons why he's underwater regarding his polling numbers there, but I will tell you that even though CBS News just did a story about how Trump is the one dragging him down, I'm telling you, Toomey's indifference to Donald Trump is hurting him. It's not Trump who's hurting him. It's his indifference to Trump that's hurting him.
I think you may very well right, and we're seeing that out in Nevada. You got the Senate race out there where the Republican had been ahead. Now he's down. Of course, now he's not saying he's not going to vote for Trump, but he's distancing himself. I mean, when people, if you're running for a leadership position and you can't say what you truly believe or stick with it or stick up for it, people start saying, really, is that how you're going to represent me when you get to Washington? Are you going to be that fickle there? I mean, you just see this all over the place. It's really disconcerting, quite honestly. But look, I think people should realize the polls are the polls. I just saw one this morning. Trump's up 2 points in Florida. I mean, depending on which ones you look at, turnout will be the thing at the end of the day. I think that it's going to be so key this year. Turnout will be everything, and that's going to be the poll that matters.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, I don't want anything bad to happen to these Republicans necessarily, but I'm telling you, as God is my witness, based on the people I'm talking to, there will be punishment for them. And I'm not saying that's the right thing or whatever, but I'm telling you, people are not going to be happy if there's the appearance that the lack of Republican support for Donald Trump cost him the election. It will be maddening to millions
of people. I totally agree, because it will be twofold. It will be the fact that they maybe cost him the election, cost the country from getting real change in this town, and number two, acted like it wasn't really happening, that this was just a weird election year. They didn't take a lesson from it. I think that second point is going to be huge.
Genevieve Wood, always great to talk to you, and we'll see you at dailysignal.com. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and thanks a ton. Coming up, we've got Admiral Chuck Williams joining us and Senator Roy Blunt.
Did you see that politician Jason Kander got caught lying about Roy Blunt?
Disgusting.